Hi everybody, I am taking my illustration and I'm transferring it to my artboard. So I have watercolor paper, 140 pound Canson. It's been stapled to my incredible artboard. And so the way I actually transfer my drawings, which this is so old school, but like when you were a kid in school and you need to make a copy of a drawing or whatever, I just use my woodenless pencil here. One of these. It's a soft, probably it's like a, what is this? This is like a 9B. Yep, 9B. And then I just go ahead and rub it on the back of it. Makes it super easy. And then I'll go ahead and put it underneath. I taped my drawing. That underneath. There we go, and then I tape it. Now the reason why this is off kilter is because I do cut paper, so I'm not really concerned with getting the whole entire image. I have to then break it up into individual pieces. So like you can see, like the body is actually separate from the head, because the head will actually be, you know, dimensionally add some depth. So I break it up. And so I have to think about how am I going to make the individual pieces. So the body is one whole piece. Head's going to be separate. Even the little back piece, his other fin, and then his other horn, that's going to be on a slightly separate layer. So I'm just doing that right now, and then I will get back to you guys. So anyways, that's a quick, easy, cheap, low-tech way to transfer your drawings to watercolor paper. Alright guys, so I've been doing a little bit of watercoloring and I have my artboard. This is the drawing that I showed last time in the video. This is the 140 pound Canson watercolor paper. This is cold press. So you're going to notice as I zoom in, see these little black specks? I achieved this effect using something called watercolor granulation medium. Okay, so Winsor & Newton makes it. I use it with, and I've shown in another video how it works, but it tends to work better. It's really intended for watercolor, but I think if you want these kind of effects, like if you're seeing these little specks of separation of the pigment from the medium, it is because I am using watercolor. See, this is the brand I use. There's lots of different brands, but this is the one. Daler and Rowney is the one I use. I like it. Now, granted, I haven't tried a lot of different kinds of brands, but this has been great. Works great with the watercolor medium. So I dilute it with water. Here's a little tip, okay? Because it's acrylic based, so it's gonna like ruin all your palettes. So if you run into this issue, I mean, this is what your palettes look like after you use this, and it's hard to get rid of it and get it out of there. So what I started using, I had a bunch of these silicone baking like cups. They're really for cupcakes, but what I'll do is I can bend it and then I use them for mixing cups, but since I can bend them, I'll just peel out the acrylic paint and I can reuse them over and over again, which I love. Okay, another thing I want to mention, because this kind of technique, if you're doing it and you like to say color your paper, like I do cut paper illustrations, and I don't really like relying on whatever company. Like a lot of people use Canson, there's nothing wrong with that, but I tend to be into like actually painting and mixing colors myself. So I cannot recommend this enough. You want something that's a time saver, do a color chart. I mean, this is a huge time saver. I'll be honest, I took a color theory class years and years ago, and they have you cut up these little pieces of square colored sheets of papers, and you see how warm and cool colors work together. I think what they should have had students do is do a color chart, because in the end result, if you're going to do traditional and you're going to do paint-based medium, you want to know how your colors are going to work with each other. This saves a huge amount of time, because I literally went in, made a grid, I label it with the set colors that I had on one side. The same colors go on the opposite side, and maybe I'll make a separate video on how you do a color chart. But then as you move down the grid, you're mixing the colors together, and then you can see literally, well, if I mix these two colors together, what am I going to get? I'm going to get this, I'm going to get that, and I'm going to get all these variations of color. Well, I mean, and they look cool too. But I'll also do the old school color wheel, and this is more for value, since I'm using the white of the paper. to mix. So I'm getting my tints just to kind of see, like, because the white, I don't, I'm not fond of the way the white mixes with the Daler and Rowney. It does make it lighter, but I think it's better, you get better results just by lightening up on the mix of how much pigment you're putting down in water. So I find that's better to me. I mean, everybody's different, but so color wheels are great. And so when you do this preliminary work, you will save tons of time. So I don't care if you work in watercolor, acrylics, whatever you do, these things, I mean, they seem so elementary school. Like I would do this in elementary with my students, high school as well. And a lot of people complain if you're a teacher and you're like, oh, we gotta do a color chart. Okay, they'll appreciate it later on as they start actually mixing colors because they can refer to it. To me, it's almost like a recipe book. You know, I've got my recipe right here. These are my stock ingredients. When I mix these two things together, what am I going to get? Am I going to get a cake? Am I going to get a muffin? Am I going to get a cookie? So you can do that with color. Saves you a ton of time. Okay, put that aside. Another thing is, Schmick used to make a mister. And so this is why I did this, because I couldn't get the Schmick version of the watercolor granulation medium. It doesn't fine spray, but you know, I had this leftover spray bottle. You know, you can get one cheap from Walmart or wherever, or reuse one. I just rinsed this out, and then I just put in the watercolor granulation medium. I put down water, and I'll maybe do a little demo video after this, but I just wanted you to kind of know, like, this is how I do it. First, you want to lay down a coat of water on top of your area that you want the pigment on. So once you add that water in, before the water dries, you have your pre-mixed color right here ready to go. Dip it in your brush, start letting it bleed. You want to do this before it dries, because I will say this stuff dries super fast. I mean, like watercolor dries fast. I think this stuff even dries faster. So you can see I put like a lot of water in there, and so that helps the pigment, the watercolor acrylic inks move before it dries. I'm spritzing it with the watercolor granulation medium, light spray, and then you really don't want to touch it, because if you touch it, see here, let's see, where's one place I touched it. I pulled up a little bit here. See, there's less granulation. Now, if you want that, that's fine, but I just wanted to kind of show you, like here, pulled up on the color, less granulation, more granulation because I haven't touched it. So I've got to let this dry, and then I'm just going to shoot another video so you can actually see me do like the tail or something, or whatever, so you guys can see like this is what it looks like and this is what happens when you use it. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I really love the textures. I've been dying to use it for a while. Not as sure, like this part wasn't quite as successful, but that's okay. That's what Photoshop is for. So, but actually I need to also go over, I'm going to add some cool colors on top of it, like a cool wash of blue, because it's going to be in a blue sky. So anyways, stay tuned. Alright, I'm just backing up a little bit so you guys could see. I have a stand that I have a Yupo translucent sheet on, and then I put my illustration on a separate sheet of paper. This is like the line drawing. This is at 100% printed out, and then I'm using it like a light table. Yeah, it's like a giant light table. So I go ahead and I can put my drawing, and this helps me know where placement is. And then if you look at the other side, this is the side view of it. I have a artificial lighting right here, and the nice thing about these, I got these from Newer. Gosh, were they like maybe 50 bucks, 40, 50 bucks, and come in a set of 2. And the nice thing, it has this little fancy control where I can turn it on and off, like, yeah. And then I can also go up. I think it's up at the most, but then I can dim it too. See? Isn't that nice? So the great thing about using artificial, like I like natural lighting myself, but it's kind of like you can't control the light. So this works great. And I'm so glad my husband made this for me. It was like I think it was like 15 bucks to make it. I also have at the top, you'll see a screw, and that is to place my DSLR camera, so if I want to shoot down, because I'm interested later on maybe trying some cut paper animation. But yeah, I'm gonna go through and I'm just gonna start piecing things together so that I can see how it's going to light on the paper. Alrighty. I meant to shoot some earlier video showing how I was like putting this together, and I totally forgot. But anyways, right now it's ready for the photo shoot. The colored light in the back, I put some of this blue fabric I had. It worked for my color comp, so it's being lit from there. My husband made this the screen here, and I put a sheet of this translucent Yupo on it that stretches across, so it really acts like one giant light box. I use wire to attach like the pieces so I have different levels, so there's depth as the pieces are suspended. And then what I'll do is in post I'll go ahead and remove those in Photoshop. So I'll play around with lots of different lighting. Even though I've done my color comps, you just never know. Sometimes you'll get some kind of interesting color combination. I've tried like gel filters. These are pretty strong, so they give off a very saturated light color. I tend to prefer tissue paper because it's got this diffuse feel to it, and it's pretty cool. I tried this lighter blue. It wasn't quite working. And so I tried the fabric, and it works the best, I think, with this situation. So what I'll do is tomorrow, 8 a.m., this hopefully will stay up because it's literally being held together with wires and some double-sided foam tape and some drafting tape, masking tape. I have a window over here on the side. So I tend to like, I mean, natural lighting's great because it just really softens everything. So at 8 a.m., that's when you get the best light. I'll have my DSLR set up and I will shoot. So I will show that process tomorrow in a video, but hopefully this helps show you how it is. And so like if I bring my camera in, the sides will get cropped out. So no one's gonna really see that the tail is like, that's gonna get cropped out. So yeah. But yeah, so it's getting there. Alright, thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Alright, it's almost 8 in the morning. I have set up everything. I pretty much have the lighting the way I want it. Okay, I have my camera set up here. A little bit of natural light coming through on this side. Backlight. That is giving it the colored light in the back. It's a little bit hot right now on my cell phone, so I may have to tone that down in Photoshop or figure out maybe white balance. And so I'll go through and I'll shoot different white balance settings, and I'll adjust the lighting that's in the room, because at this point it's really about controlling the light. You want enough light that you can actually get things lit, and then you want to have not too much light because it washes out that back color. So it's always a balance, and so I'll play around with that, and then I'll make what I call basically a digital contact sheet, and I'm gonna see what's working and what one I need to do. I'm also going to try tethering today. Oh yeah, I forgot. I bought a tethering cable, so I should be able to shoot directly to Lightroom. And so I bought one of those cables, and I'll hook it here right into my laptop, and I can preview the photos right away on my big screen, which is over there. My studio's a hot mess. But anyway, so we'll see how this works.